Everyone here at PC Gamer has been getting awesome Darth Maul style double-sided swords imbued with magical powers in Elden Ring. Meanwhile, I've been running around in circles attacking the same 5 soldiers to measure frame times. It's cool though, I don't mind, whatever, you know, I'm getting my runes that way anyway. Anyways, something interesting has come out of it. I've discovered that AMD's Radeon RX 6500 XT, the company's cheapest graphics card right now at $199, is surprisingly adept in the game at 1080p. Like, you can genuinely play Elden Ring at a pretty high preset and enjoy decent performance. That's not bad for a graphics card we reviewed and awarded a measly 47% score to, but it feels more important than that. The RX 6500 XT is pretty much the only graphics card you can buy at MSRP right now, and stock is fairly easy to come by. Being able to play a game with one of the highest cumulative review scores of all time on the cheapest GPU in 2022, and have it look half decent and run at a good frame rate, is a godsend right now. The RX 6500 XT hits all the necessary demands of Elden Ring's minimum system requirements, namely over 3GB of VRAM and enough graphical grunt to take on a GTX 1063GB or RX 580 4GB. It kind of scrapes by the skin of its chips in that regard, but it is safely over what's demanded of it to play Elden Ring. However, I hadn't set my hopes too high for this card's lack of real gusto when it comes to gaming at 1080p. For a graphics card released in 2022, the RX 6500 XT sure has a tough time competing with AMD's previous cards. You know, like the RX 5500 4GB, which is RDNA 1, and the RX 580 8GB, which is Polaris, which came out a really long time ago. This GPU even falls short of AMD's own marketing, thanks to a less than generous dollop of GDDR6 VRAM at 4GB. We were really hoping for a little more than that for gaming in 2022 and beyond. But all that said, loading into the game, it's clear that actually all is rather well with Elden Ring on AMD's lowest tier GPU. I'd even go as far to say it's perfectly playable. Now there is a catch here, not a massive catch, but something worth mentioning anyway when you're mentioning Elden Ring performance, and that's that there's more general stuttering issues right now across the board. From Software tried to patch it once, and the pre-release version was really bad, and it did get better with the newer version, and they promised to patch it more, but so far it can be a little janky at times, and when I say a little, sometimes it's fully like the game just stops rendering for a little while, then speeds up, catches back up again, and you just have to hope that you haven't been killed in that time. I ran into my fair share of stuttering with the RX 6500 XT, though no more so at medium or low settings than I did with AMD's best graphics card today, the RX 6900 XT, and that's at 4K. So I'm not discounting the stuttering in terms of playability, but the RX 6500 XT is no worse a victim to it than any other GPU I've tested today, including Nvidia's GeForce RTX 2070 Super. And hopefully that means it's also in line for a fix with later game versions and patches, so it should only get better from here. With all that in mind, I ran my little benchmark run, backstabbing and bashing some poor defenseless soldiers along the way, and I noted down some numbers. I also travelled around by horse, took on an outpost near the starting area of the game, and took in the sights to get an impression of what performance might be like with this GPU for the better part of Elden Ring. And to my surprise, it's really quite good. Elden Ring has a 60 FPS cap, if you didn't already know, so that's what you want to really aim for, and that's well within reach of the RX 6500 XT. High-end maximum presets are too rich for the RX 6500 XT's blood, but you can happily game at medium or low presets and expect to hit an average of 60 FPS near enough all of the time. What you want to look out for though are those minimum frame times. To ensure those stick around the 50 to 55 FPS mark, you will need to be considerate of which settings you crank up to medium or high. Any drop in the minimum FPS will also be a hit to stability and that feeling of smooth gameplay. That's genuinely super important and maybe a little overlooked at times. Though generally, the RX 6500 XT returns really admirable performance in a game that I wasn't expecting to be too friendly to budget cards. That's pretty great for a whole range of reasons. Most of all though, considering the near flawless review scores of Elden Ring, and the anticipation for this game's release over many years. I mean, we've all been to the Elden Ring subreddit, that place is wild. Being able to pick up the cheapest and most widely available graphics card going and get a reasonable return on it in Elden Ring is a real win for PC gaming right now, and budget PC gaming importantly. If you want to read more about Elden Ring, including best settings guide and more PC performance, head over to pcgamer.com.